to the gray area, where I give interviews with developers, talk about gaming news and reviews, and focus on the interrelationships between gamers. My name is Genesee Gray, and this is the 95th episode in a weekly series called PAX Provisions. Here with me is Steve Swink, game designer, speaker, and author. Last week's episode was a mashup of the I Remember It Better podcast, an interview I did there, MegaCon, and gaming news. So welcome to Steve, and thank you very much for being on the show.
Hello. Thanks for having me. I am eternally surprised when anyone wants to talk to me about anything, but I don't know. I'm always like, whatever. But,
a noted speaker. You're
yes,
surprised when people want to talk to you?
And that was, well, that talk was put together in 4 days.
Yes, I want you to tell that story then, because that's awesome.
Yeah. So, yeah, that was cool. It was fun. Mike Todd got banned from the U.S. and couldn't give his talk at PAX, and then I had to sort of step in. But it's cool because I spent the last year and a half working on educational games and thinking a lot about that space and thinking about how to actually realistically get games into classrooms and why you would want to do that and what games are good at for teaching and so on.
So what's the story on how he got banned? That's really kind of unusual. Do you know?
It involves which class of work visa he was trying to apply for. There's the T1 and then some other type of visa, and he wanted to do some other type of visa, and he applied for that one, but game designer is not a thing on that type of visa, or something about his paperwork, and then he just had an unfortunate run-in with the border guards. I mean, it turns out it's basically subjective when you get to the border, right? It's if the person wants to screw you, they can just do that, and then...
Oh, wow.
Yeah. He showed up to the border, his paperwork was not quite in order. They said, oh, it's okay, in a friendly way, come back tomorrow. And he came back the next day, and they're like, what is this? You tried to cross yesterday, you're changing your story, blah, blah, blah.
What?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like something that would happen in a movie. It was pretty obnoxious.
This frightens me because I have people that are trying to get visas and apply for citizenship. This is a frightening story.
Tell them to bite the bullet, get a lawyer, and make sure they have their paperwork correct and sorted out, and they're applying for the right type of visa, because if you try to ad hoc it, you can get banned from the U.S.
Okay, Cfane, you're in the chat room. This is for you. Okay.
I mean, that happened to Justice, right? Justice was going to play at GDC.
Oh, I didn't hear that.
And they apparently made the mistake of saying that they were being paid. Which is what you don't want to do, because then they'll say, oh, you're coming to the U.S. to work, are you? And then if the border guard doesn't like you, then you're screwed.
Oh, wow.
So we watched Skrillex spin Fat Beats.
I love Skrillex. I did not know.
It was, I mean, he didn't play any of his music. He was just like, yeah, Major Lazer, and then he would yeah.
He didn't actually, what?
Yeah.
He didn't play music, he just yelled and...
Well, no, I mean, he DJ'd.
Oh, okay.
It was pretty fun. I mean, it's an experience that I will never have again, right? Because I didn't make Minecraft, so... I'm lucky enough that Notch invited us to be in the super swanky VIP area. It felt really weird though. It's like, all the indies who live on this crazy budget and eat ramen or whatever, and we're in the super fancy VIP area,
This is your reward for all the hard work you've been doing.
Yeah.
And you say indies band together, it's nice.
Yeah.
It's nice.
Yeah, it was nice. It was cool. And we sort of looking down on all the people, the club people, and there's the models that they hire. Yeah, they're... No, that's my club dance.
That's your club dance? Okay.
That's as good as you're going to get.
Nice.
I can do the T-Rex instead.
Oh, do they do it? Yeah.
I can do the T-Rex at the club. I didn't get kicked out because I was in the VIP.
Okay. This does not happen at PAX.
No.
No. This is must be a
Didn't
GDC thing.
Yeah, maybe so. I mean, it all happens because of Notch, right?
Yeah, that too. All right. Let me get to the questions and,
Okay.
and we'll ramble. We'll ramble some more.
Sounds good.
Okay. Chat room, we will have questions at the end. So if you want to ask something and more people show up, there will be questions at the end. But for now, just hang on and all that. So let's do news of the week, which you kind of did a little bit of, but some
Sure.
more news of the week.
Yeah, I mean, GDC was a trip. Just finished doing a FADC from PAX into GDC combo, which was pretty brutal. I don't think I'll do that again. I hope they don't schedule them back to back again like that. But I don't know. It's fun. Yeah. Why would they do that to us? It was horrible. No, it was good. And so I have been working really hard for a month to get my new game ready for GDC, and it went over a storm. Everybody really loved it, and I completely burned down all the code and recoded it from scratch starting a month ago, and have a totally new art style. And
Okay.
so I was very nervous about showing it to people, but the response was universally positive. So
This
it's
is
really
in
good.
Biggin? Is that what we're
It's
talking about?
scale.
Scale. Okay.
Yes.
I definitely want to ask you about that too, like, toward the
Sure.
end. I'm trying to put the order of events together for your life, and
Sure.
it's a little difficult in
Let's
some
more.
stuff. I'm
And
like designing first, then book, then educational games. Kind of what I'm guessing. I don't know if the book came first. I
yeah. No, it was like I went to school for game design because that's all I ever wanted to do. Because I used to like program games on my dad's Commodore 64 and stuff.
okay.
Um,
Let's put this
and
under
then,
childhood questions. Let's ask you childhood questions. So
well,
childhood games that you did, you programmed as a
yes.
child? Wow.
Yeah. Well, like in fifth grade, I made an RPG in Logo Writer called Death Quest.
Okay. What was this
It was
about?
yeah, right. And my dad made fun of me. He was like, "So you're
Let's
questing
do
for
for
death?"
death.
Like,
I didn't
shut
want to
up,
say it.
Dad! Shut up, Dad! Damn it!
Didn't want to say it.
Yeah, it's pretty good. But yeah, so then I just out of school I got a job at this company called Tremor Entertainment,
Hmm.
which was actually really cool because it was basically the design team from StarCraft.
Oh.
So it was like Robert Jordovich, James Finney, Jeffrey Vaughn, those guys, um, Eric, and they were making this like crazy proto God of War thing. It was like a brawler fighting game RPG with combos where you played as like this cool goth chick who had all these crazy powers, and but she wasn't like a titty girl, which I think is maybe why it got canceled. She
What?
was like actually dressed like a reasonable human being,
Okay.
and it was amazing.
It
Yeah, it was
sounds
really
like
cool.
a pretty neat game.
It's
Not a lot
called
of.
The Scene, ironically,
Okay.
because it was never
I've
seen.
never seen.
Yeah, it was an Xbox One title.
Hmm. Does this happen
Right.
a lot? Because, I mean, I realize the news kind of the day is LucasArts and closing down the entire,
Yeah.
studio for the new Star Wars game. And it seems like a lot of games kind of get to the point where either the studio closes and you never really get to finish the game, or they just decide for some reason. It's a lot of work and a lot of pay and a lot of time into a game that just ends and then it just goes away forever. What happens to a game like that, like Scene?
Yeah. I mean, okay, so I mean the story of the end of Unseen is really weird because it's like Microsoft sunk a few $1 million into this thing and we'd been working on it for 3 years or something like that. And then I showed up one day and my key didn't work in the lock anymore and the CFO was like, "Yeah, sorry, there's no paychecks, get your stuff and go home." And they had an armed security guard that like walked everyone up to their desk to make sure they weren't trying to steal stuff and stuff. So I'm like scraping all my CDs at the time into a plastic bag or whatever. But some of the Bulgarian programmers like razzle dazzled the guard and like stole the dev kit.
Nice.
So we were trying to save the project. So we had a copy of all the code and stuff like that, but just nobody wanted to pick it up.
Uh,
It
hmm.
was cool. I mean, I think it would have been really cool. It probably did need like another 2 years of work, which is probably why nobody wanted to keep working on it.
Mm-hmm.
But the story that we were told at the time is that the CEO stole a bunch of money from Microsoft and like skipped to Florida,
Oh.
where I don't know if you're aware of in Florida, they have property laws that state that if you own property, that's the one thing that can't be taken from you. So the government can take away all your money and all your assets, but not your property. So I guess he just like
Buy a
sunk a bunch
big
of money.
house.
Yeah, I guess he sunk a bunch of money into a house in Florida or something.
Wow.
Yeah. So that was
Okay.
my first game industry experience. It was kind of a trip.
Well, then does the kind of copyright law involve the concept of the game, or can you make something similar? As long as you change the name of the protagonist, and it's not called Unseen, but it's about, it's called visibility. I don't know, whatever you call
Yeah,
it.
right. Yeah, yeah. Um, Honestly, I don't know, but I think that with games, the like, you know, untold truth that nobody wants to mention is that no one has any idea how to actually make a game. And so when they have a game that's really successful, they're like, okay, okay, this is awesome. All right, we're gonna make 5 of these, right? Because because they're just so terrified and they sunk so much money into this thing, and I don't think anyone wanted to pick it up because it wasn't like a proven project, right? If we were Bungie and it was Halo or something,
Right.
obviously somebody would have picked us up. But it was just like this unproven IP, brand new thing. I
Yeah.
think people would have liked it. I mean, it was like a pretty fun game already. Well, I suppose we've been developing it for a while, but at its earliest stage, it was still pretty fun.
Mm-hmm.
It looked gorgeous. It was awesome. But yeah, I think these games just fall into this weird purgatory, and
I,
games are not like books or films where someone can sort of take over midstream and like do reshoots and fix the thing or recut it or whatever. It's like if the code is half finished and all the people who worked on that code are gone, then it's kind of like, what's the point? We might as well just make a different game.
I guess that seems just like a lot of investment and time and people's kind of hard work as far as their attachment to go into something just to see it go down the drain and never.
Oh yeah, I mean it was heartbreaking, but I guess that's kind of the brutal reality, right? It's like it doesn't
Yes.
really matter how hard you worked on something. If it's not good, it's not good. And the problem with games is they don't really get good until the very end.
Ah, okay. I definitely want to talk about some of these concepts that you're talking about now because they factor into the authorship in the book that I was reading about. But I want to start sort of at the beginning more.
Sure.
And so, you're programming as a child. Do you play any games? It's the
Oh
favorite
yeah.
things that you did as a kid?
Oh yeah, absolutely. So there was a game that actually inspired me to become a game designer. It was called Sea Route to India, and I haven't even been able to find a ROM of it. But
Okay.
it was kind of like Oregon Trail. It was basically you were trying to find a sea route from Europe around the Horn of Africa to India. So you could have, and so it was like this brutally difficult thing where your ship would get shipwrecked all the time, or and you had to hunt whales for food, and there was like this whale hunting mini game, and the whales would go back and forth, and you had to harpoon them, and they turn upside down with X fries and flood to the top.
Okay, I can see why aspects of that would be nixed, but it sounds a very educational game kind of in itself.
Yeah, it was really fun. I mean, that was the game that I was like, wow, I really want to make games after playing that.
Cool. So, how did you end up deciding that you want to be a game designer, and did you go to school for this? How did this come about?
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, I got out of high school and I was like, well, I can kind of program and I can kind of draw. And what I really want to do is make games, but I didn't really know how to do that because it wasn't. I mean, this was 1998, so
Okay.
this was before there were real serious game schools. So I went to this college called Cogswell, which was the only fully accredited college in the U.S. that had a major in game design, and it happened to be right up the road from where I lived.
Oh,
And
lucky.
yeah, it was in Sunnyvale, and I was in Cupertino, California,
Nice.
right next to the NASA base, the Blue Cube, which is apparently the #2 nuke target in the U.S., which I found out later.
I live near 3 Mile Island, so I feel your pain.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah. It's nice to know you won't have to
Get
suffer
it?
long, right?
Flash vaporized, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Times.
Nice.
Good.
I also have a very strange fear of Silent Hill, but that's a whole other story.
Strange fear of Silent Hill the game.
Yeah, because of the whole siren that you hear all the time here. Like, I don't know.
You hear? Is it like an accident that it goes off, or is it
It
a?
goes off testing a lot. Like they make that siren, and also for some reason fires. When, like the fire department chooses to incorporate the meltdown sound of a nuclear power plant as their warning that there is a fire in the area, which I don't think is a really smart choice. But that
Yeah,
they,
that's it's kind of like a fire department troll. That's not really the
it
agency
is.
to be messing around with.
Yeah, like should I pop that pill right now, or is that no? It's a fire. Okay, yeah.
Yeah,
Save
you
my
have
thyroid.
cyanide pill in
I
your mouth.
do. I have a thyroid pill that is supposed to keep you from being nuclear. Like, if the radiation is far enough away, your thyroid will preserve you for like half an hour so you can run to the Poconos or whatever.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Wow. I'm glad that I don't often have to think about that.
I don't think about it very often either.
Although I know that I'm out in Arizona, if the Colorado River runs dry one day, you have about 5 days to get out of town before there's just no water anywhere because you're in the middle of the desert.
Oh, yeah. That would also be a problem.
Yeah. We're like a week away from apocalypse at any moment in Arizona.
A long week away.
Yeah, and everybody's ready too. Everyone has like guns buried in the desert and stuff like that.
So that they can fight the zombie hordes or the other people that are looking for their water.
So they can exhaust themselves digging in the desert and save the rest of us the trouble. I don't know.
Nice.
Where was those damn guns? Oh, it's hot. Wish I had that water.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you should bury the water somewhere
Yeah,
far
I'm
below
thinking
ground.
about it. Well, I feel there's a lot of people in Arizona who don't think things through. Kind of, I think that's how civilization started.
It's
In
a little
Arizona.
natural selection right
Just
there.
people not thinking things through. I'm there because trying to live in California and start a game company is very expensive.
Ah, I can see.
Northern California is about the most expensive place you can live in the U.S.
It seems like it's quite a hub, though. I mean, there's tons and tons of events that seem to occur